I'm resident of caller for YouTube. Jules Sands. That is Tom Diamond. That is Vickie Ray. We're here to talk the time tunnel, the night of the long knives. So this is
Which
about
confused me immediately because it confused me with German history.
Right.
yeah.
That's why
Night of
it
the
just, yeah, I had to look that up. It's like Night of the Long Knives. Isn't
Night
that
of the
not?
Long Knives occurred on June 30th, 1944, during the war, and it was Hitler's assassination of political opponents, and they came up with close to 100. And why
Yeah,
this is called Night of the Long Knives, you could hypothetically think that
Cutlass
Afghanistan and
is.
India are political
Yeah.
opponents, but it doesn't really make sense. I couldn't find it. Did you find anything as
No,
to what?
not for being in the deserts of India in 1886. I mean, I did try to find something on it. Were there. Well, it wasn't the Night of the Long Knives, but I think what they were trying to do was kind of make a 52-minute adaptation to Rudyard Kipling's, like Gunga Din or something similar.
Hmm.
Because you notice they did, Kipling played a big part in this, and I think that that's what they were trying to go with, was that kind of extract from that novel. But they just got these guys in another historical crisis. They leaving the British and tribal conflict to play out as history dictates, not as how they would. Yet again, um, it was kind of they launched their Night of Long Knives attack on the British fort. Tony and Doug, interfere with some luck. The British defenses hold up no matter what. Reinforcements to arrive. Now there were purges and things like this that were happening because let's face it, the British East India Company and the UK that had this massive empire, and it was they were resented terribly. And it kind of this reminded me more of I finished the last episode of the Nautilus. I don't know if you guys are watching any of it, but it's a new take on the Nautilus, and it's kind of good. They switched it up a little bit, but there's still that acrid distaste for the British East India Company and for the British Empire. I mean, this was like that they're Afghanistan legitimately, because they just were not willing to, you know.
Well, I couldn't understand why they all of a sudden went to London and had that whole talk with the Parliament and Gladstone and everything.
Uh-huh.
If they were willing to do something like that and not bring Tony and Doug back, that just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
No, that didn't make sense. But the main plot tension was Tony and Doug were captured by Condid's men, and they plan to use them as bargaining pieces because they know they're not regular men, obviously by their
Yeah.
clothes. But
Hmm.
again, Doug is nearly killed with a test of loyalty, but he always survives with Tony's help. But I mean,
Yeah.
they had that same kind of dynamic going on, but the script wasn't tight this time, like they'll get spoiled too the last several episodes. This one just is missing the mark a little bit. I don't know what you guys think.
It's starting to. Yeah, the next episode after this is pretty interesting, and then there are a couple down the pike, but it's starting to it's starting
Unravel
to
maybe a
waver
little
a
bit.
bit.
What
It's
is he?
start.
What do you think? They're getting lax with their writing. Do you think that their steam was mid
I think
season?
they were running out of gas, quite frankly, and to accept a title like that without really explaining.
Yeah, that was so confusing because I really was expecting Nazi Germany or like the beer hall putsch or something like that. I mean, I thought it was
Mhm.
Hitler-esque, but no, I mean, it was a good episode. I mean, they stitched it
Hmm.
together, but they definitely took lots of artistic license and lots of stock footage, lots and lots of stock footage. I think you could see where was that? There was actually you could actually see the main actors from one of two of the movies
Yeah,
because
which
they
movies
used
did
so
they
much
copy?
stock footage.
Which movies did they copy?
Let me see. I have it here. I've got a million here. Keep talking. I'm looking. Okay, got several late season episodes. They went to the Fox stock footage library, especially the King of Khyber rifles. That was a big one,
Mm-hmm.
which I have not seen. I have never seen that movie.
Me
They said that
neither.
the title, The Night of the Long Knives, borrows directly from the 1934 Nazi Germany's infamous purge, but it's repurposed here simply for its ominous, dramatic weight. But it's still confusing. So it's like they historically recycled something, and it just shows how 1960 how they illustrate. This illustrates how they did their shows. Because I mean, like somebody once told me, some things weren't meant to be seen over and over again. Like franchised out. And I think that's here
This is
why
one of
these
them.
things, we see these things happen.
Yeah.
Well, this was one of them. Although I did think the old man was the hit of the show. That's how bad. That's how bad it was.
I like the old man.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
for what I read is that for some fans, it stood out as an exotic adventure, with contrasted with episodes that were more familiar in American historical events, like the Titanic was, or the Lincoln assassination. But for some reason, they were trying to draw these connections to Kipling and Gunga Din, but it was it was more about, well, they got the colonial India right,
Right.
and then they got the part about the dangerous battles on the frontier. But it's almost the same era and setting that Kipling wrote about, the Afghan frontier and the military British outpost, but it really wasn't Rudyard Kipling's Gunga Din. But I think they were trying to superimpose that narrative on this episode, and it kind of confused me a little bit.
Well, I think the actor that played Kipling was a little weak because he was.
He wasn't very bombastic, was he? Kipling was bombastic.
Yeah, he was a little weak, and and quite frankly, the other guy that you could respect was the Sikh that was the Indian major.
Yes.
Because he looked like he controlled his people very well, and he seemed to have a solid knowledge of what to do and where they were going. But
there was still distrust and cultural division. I mean, they definitely showed that. They did get that across.
no. So in essence, this was a nothing burger.
It wasn't a total nothing burger. I mean, anybody that goes to all these great lengths to, to actually, make something like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was more, I was kind of expecting more like, Douglas Fairbanks, maybe a little more swashbuckling, or Peter O'Toole from My Favorite Year,
No, you didn't get that at all.
No.
And Doug most of the time was tending to the old man. And
did he get slapped up a lot in this one, or was that the last episode? Did he get slapped in the face several times, or was that the last episode, Doug?
What's this?
Doug took a beating in this episode.
Yeah, okay, it was this one. I thought it's like, oh man, I've since slept, because Doug got his ass beat quite a bit, and it's slap. That would maybe want to slap.
There was a lot of action in this one. There's a lot of shooting, fighting.
There was a lot of action.
There's hand-to-hand combat, the fight choreography in these episodes is fun to watch. This episode is pure filler. I mean, that's what it is.
It is pure filler. That is a good way to put it, hon. Definitely pure filler.
But it's chaotic. It's like chaotic fun though. But I will say, because when I read the title, I made the mistake of researching it too. This is World War II, and I watched the episode. No, this is not.
I know. And that was really something. Now, ironically, the next episode will deal with World War II, and I think it's a much better one in terms of introducing a new element into the mix, which I won't go into right now. But it was much tighter. The next episode is much tighter, and the choreography is good, and there's a lot because it looked like they did some Hogan's Hero sets on.
Some of this, like, oh, I bet they probably did. What was Hogan's Heroes? That was mid 60s that
It
came
sure
out.
was 66, 67 to 69. So it really did look like they borrowed some of the whatchamacallit, the tower. They borrowed that same tower from the Hogan's Heroes. But getting back to this
Oh,
one, I'm afraid there isn't a lot to say about this one except the old. Now the old guy is a character actor from way back.
that was a
And
straw. He was
what's that?
Thatcher was Condon. He was the one that played in the fantasy film Seventh Voyage of Sinbad and Jack the Giant Killer from 1962. I remembered him because he had those intense blue eyes. He had like Jeffrey Hunter eyes. That's why I
Oh
remember
yeah.
that. And they used Andrew Duggan as Colonel Southall. He was a familiar face in the 60s and 70s. He was in a lot of Westerns and war shows, but I cannot find the old man's. David Watson, maybe? Captain Briggs was Paul Comey. I cannot find the old man's. I cannot find it. Well, who was it? Paul Comey was Captain Briggs. He was in Star Trek. Perry Mason. I mean, he was in Rawhide. I mean, his face just totally jumps out, but he's a regular at this point.
Who is this?
Paul Comey.
Oh, what did he play in Star Trek?
I cannot find the old man's name, though. I got every actor's name except the most legitimate, I mean, he stood out quite a bit. But I cannot find a credit.
So what do you think, Jewel? You thought that there was a lot of action, but it failed to deliver on certain points?
There's not a great deal of story with this one, but there's a lot of chaotic action, which can be
It's
fun.
very chaotic action. Yeah, they used a lot of like stock footage from previous movies. They had to.
In some ways, I could, because as a guy who likes cheesy horror movies, and me and Vickie have talked about this, like Jason X has no plot. Okay, this episode has no plot.
It doesn't. It's senseless. It's just like Jason X. Some of it's just senseless killing. Yeah. I mean, I'll say my husband's like, I'm just going to go put on something that's senseless killing. Well, what's the point? There is none.
Yeah, but
senseless.
Yeah, I mean, that's this episode. It's senseless fun. I mean, that's what they're having for all the physicality.
I wonder if it was just, I don't know. When did this come out? What time of year? Okay, well, March 3rd. So it wasn't Christmas. So they weren't in a hurry to get home on vacation. So that's a legitimate excuse. But it's like, I'm just, when you're in a hurry, it's like, oh God, let's just wrap this shit up. Because what they see, they used King of the Kyber rifles with Tyrone Power, and they had a lot of the wide shots. And they used the Northwest Mounted Police. Paramount originally produced that one. Some of the sequences were circulated. They had library stock. They used that for the cavalry and the fort defense. In the Reigns of Ranchepur, that's the one I was trying to remember. And I think that some of the tribal assaults that were stitched together so much that you could see, like some of the famous actors like Tyrone Power in the stock footage. Because they use so much of it. So some of the actors, the big name actors, you can tell who they are in their stock footage if you really look. So I thought that was kind of funny. I'm sure there was bloopers in there somewhere.
Who killed off the Malachi Throne character? Because it didn't seem to be someone that was used extensively on the show at all. It looked like an extra, the one that knifed him in the back.
That's a good question.
I don't remember him at all. It was just some extra. It was just disjointed.
Yeah, I found myself disassociating around minute 24.
Yep.
You're having a conversation and all of a sudden just like, I mean, that's what I was kind of thinking. They kind of disassociated with us mid episode. a little bit. Not to saying it wasn't good. I mean, it was. I didn't hate it,
I
but
think
I
it
mean,
was
I
mediocre.
was kind of expecting something a little tighter.
I'm gonna be honest. I think it was mediocre, and I'd give it a 5.
I
I
gave
think
it a 6. I was
you give
kind of
it
disappointed.
you give it a what?
I give it a 6. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't throw that together like that the way they
Mm-hmm.
did.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Jewel?
Jules
I'll,
gonna laugh, and Jules not gonna bash on it near as much as we movies are.
and I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
I do think they, again, for lack of story here, for it just seems like they're throwing stuff together for this episode, but you know what? They put a lot of effort into the choreography. I'll give them that. And if you can entertain,
Well, they're throwing punches better, and Doug's taking an ass beating a whole lot better than he did the episode before this.
so somebody needs to send this episode to the current WWE writers and say, now this has no story, but you see this? This is still entertaining. Do something.
Yeah, no shit. What a novel idea that is,
Right.
That's
So
what I can think of.
But I mean, it's just kind of, I mean, they are always land in the conflict. And the thing is, I mean, how many people ever say anything about their clothes? I think I heard like one episode where someone says you're dressed weird. Other than that, it's like
couple
business as
episodes they
usual.
talked about it, but they just seem to accept them the way they are.
And they're just magically clean.
Yeah,
And
right.
everybody lands on their feet except Doug and Tony.
But they got that sound effect right finally when they disappear. Bang!
Yeah.
They got that sound effect right.
No one showed up in the time tunnel this time around, though, did they?
But they didn't bring anybody back in this episode.
What were you saying before you started? Something that you thought they had done with this episode that we were talking about. It was a good point you made before we started recording. That's going to bug me now because now I can't remember.
They didn't bring anybody back. They could have brought the old man back. I think that would have been. Might
have had more quality of life. Yeah.
And that would, is this the one where Jerry went and they couldn't find, at one point they couldn't find either of them and they thought they were dead, and Jerry went and behind their backs and twisted the button and found them again?
I thought that was another episode. That wasn't this episode, was it? Wasn't that the last episode? They thought each other was dead.
Oh, it was the last episode.
The Alamo, because they both didn't show up at the same time.
Yeah, no, the last episode in the Alamo, they brought back Austin. They brought back Rose Reason. But this one, I think, you see, the episode was so disjointed. I mean, it was just like putting round pegs into square holes.
It is hard to kind of put this one in like a bullet point, whatever. I mean, you just got to start out. They're hurled into the deserts. They arrive at the time of the British Raj, just as the tensions arise with local tribes, because there was an uprising. You do have your historical conflict. You do have your, we got the British fort was commandeered by Southall. Now that was historically accurate. But the title refers to a planned massacre where they tend to wipe out or do wipe out the British forces, but they don't really, do they? So, I mean, even the title, as we discussed prior to this, really just maybe the title just doesn't fit the episode. And I don't know just like I said, I don't know what they were thinking with this one. I don't know. It was the 60s. Maybe they got a hold of some good LSD or something. Who knows?
This is one of the episodes, unfortunately, that doesn't make sense. And they have at least a few others coming up.
You're going to get that with a lot of these 60s. And, just sort of like, we were talking about Dark Shadows lots of times. They had a couple episodes that are filler, basically. There's everybody does it. A little creative, slow down, maybe. The creative juices aren't flowing like they should.
Well, but they had an extensive acting support system to begin with. These, the time tunnel, if you think of it, it's less than 10 actors. It's Tony, Doug, and Swain, General, Jerry,
Got a couple extras
couple
milling around.
extras, Jigs. I think it's just less than 10. And of course, James Darren. I think they're between 10 to 12 actors. Considering they didn't have a lot to work with, I think they, they did a good job up to a point, but you can only do so much. And this episode wasn't one of them. And frankly, does anybody else have anything to add about it?
Really, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can say about this
Nope.
one. I mean, I'm really just pulling out all the stops of what I mean, I couldn't even really find a lot of historic accurate, anything to even, come up with on this one. I mean, like I said, they did have their censorship cuts because of syndication. Maybe that could be part of it, In some later TV packages, they said that there are scenes of close combat with bayonets and swords, but they trimmed a lot of the violence because it was the 60s back then. I don't remember whether it was on at prime time or if it was on just after the news. I can't remember. I remember Batman coming on.
What the
like
time tunnel? It
Uh,
was on 8 o'clock Friday
was it
night.
on 8 o'clock? I was wondering because they curbed a lot of the violence. So some fans who originally got to see on reruns get a later version than the original 67 broadcast. But I've been watching mine on Prime, so I don't think that there's any,
It was
censoring
on
of
after
that.
the Green Hornet. You had the 7 o'clock news on ABC, and then you had the Green Hornet at 7:30, and then the time tunnel at 8 o'clock.
The Green Hornet. God, I
Yes.
vaguely remember the Green Hornet. I know my brothers remember the Green Hornet. My brothers definitely remember the Green Hornet. I know Jewel doesn't even know about the Green Hornet.
Jules, do you know about the Green Hornet?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, he knows about it. He just didn't watch it because he wasn't born yet.
Yeah, I wasn't
That's
born
right.
yet, but I heard all about it.
There's a big deal between legendary fight between Green Hornet and Batman.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
they had a
And there was
crossover.
there was that horrible crossover between the Shadow and Green Hornet.
Oh
was-
my
it
God,
was a
that's
crossover.
right. Oh wow, I totally forgot about that.
And
Yeah,
Roger
yeah.
C. Carmel was there as Gum. And
God, I miss stuff like that. I wonder if anybody's got episodes of The Shadow anywhere.
Yep, that's for sure.
Well, that's in the pulps but if you want to read some horrible crossovers, go read the Predator, Alien, Superman, Batman
I've
crossovers.
heard about those.
Those
Oh
will
my
those
God.
those will let me tell
I
you.
will not do that to my brain pan. I
Yeah.
refuse. I'll read anything, but I won't read that.
Yeah,
I'll watch The Human Centipede before I pick that up.
if you want to waste some time in your life, those are comics to pick up.
There you go. There you go. Well, by the time you see me next time, I won't be wearing these glasses anymore. Both lenses will be in, and I'll be
super jealous. I don't know what you look like without glasses. I'm so used to, after all these years, seeing you with glasses.
You've never seen me without glasses.
No, I've never had. It's going to be
There
hard
I
getting
am.
used to you without glasses.
There I am. But you'll see me without the glasses right now. As I said, I have this lens was taken out of the glass, and this is the other lens, and that's the one that's going to
I
be
just have
worked
to be
on.
put out. I can't have people mess with my eyes. That just messes with my brain.
I know the eyes is a big deal with you.
No.
I'm just not crazy for the next 3 days. I gotta go for the pre-op on Tuesday, for the surgery on Wednesday, and for a post-op on Thursday. What a pain in the neck, but it is what it is. So, are we good Sunday for 8 o'clock for the next episode?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm always ready.
Yeah, that should be. No, I'm looking forward more to that.
I think we'll have a better talk next week.
What's that?
Basically, this one was they just tried to make this one about Kipling directly, but I mean, they got it with the same cultural DNA, but it just the mythos of the Raj and all that just didn't filter
Just
right
didn't work.
through on this one.
Unless you're a Kipling fan, it didn't work. So look forward to the next episode. And what's the title of that episode?
I don't know. I didn't look.
I will tell you. Night of Long Knives. Night of Long Knives we just saw.
I don't know where they go after that.
Invasion. That shouldn't be there. It's got to be another title. Anyway.
Sometimes Prime mixes up titles. I don't know why they do that, but they do.
I don't know either. Okay. Where are we?
What do you think about it, Jewel? You just gonna give it a 6 and say hopefully for a better episode next week?
I want a 5. I want a 5 for it. I don't think it was the best.
Is that your final answer, Tom?
What's it? No bloopers. I mean, no bloopers even to keep it funny. No bloopers to keep it funny.
No, there wasn't any. There wasn't any like boom mics you could see or any of that other good stuff.
No, blase episode.
It was I was kind of shocked. I was kind of hoping for a little more on that, but I like the action. I mean, at least saw Doug get his ass beat. He had to get slapped across the face. I was like, why doesn't he punch him back? Why is he just taking this? Just like there's nowhere it says you have to get your ass beat.
That sounds good. All right, guys. So we're on for Sunday.
Yes.
Link
to the Literary License podcast will be in the description box. You can get Tom and Vickie both on Facebook. They're very nice people. Talk to them about Dark Shadows. Make sure you recommend Tom many horror movies because you can, and we allow you to.
Especially the ones with necrophilia. Tom likes those the most.
There you go.
Female vampires. That's what I like. Just like the brothers. Yeah, those are the ones I like.
You're no fun. Live a little, Tom.
I'll try.
Tom, you all the best on your surgery, buddy. Take care.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Starting to
Bye, guys.
Take care, guys. Be well.